All right, my friends, it's about time. We got a late start today. I want to welcome you once again to episode number 97 of Sunday Night Alive Power Hour with your host, Soldier of Self Mastery. Before we get started, I have a question that I want to ask you here, and I'm already starting off on the wrong note. But there is a question that I want to ask you before we get started here on this episode. And that question is going to be this, and I hope that everybody can actually see me on this broadcast. This is episode number 97. Once again, it's a privilege and an honor to be here. I'm going to do my best to get through this episode for us to see how we can actually, here's what I want to do. Uh, Let me see. Well, actually, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but basically, I want to help you and I get further along on this road that you and I are both walking on. I want to get us both further down the road faster. Agreed? That's what it's about, right? Advancing and just going forward. So, how would better listening skills right now help you? Before we get started, this is what I wanted to ask. How would better listening skills right now help you? Or how would having better listening skills right now help you? Uh, where would they help you out the most? And I want you to think about this as we go through this program because I'm going to work on asking you some questions. I want to definitely interact with you. I want to know what's on your mind tonight. We did get a little bit of a late start, but I definitely want to know what is on your mind. Uh, Whatever it is that you want to interact with us here, with me tonight. Let's grow together. Let's learn together. Let's make something good out of this program that we have the privilege of having at this time here at Soldiers of Self Mastery. So, this and much, much more on today's episode number 97 of Sunday Night Alive Power Hour. All right. Let me see. By the way, I'm going to be giving away a book here. I'm going to be giving away one of my old books because I've got some new copies coming in of my. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I'm really grateful. I'm thankful that we finally were able to get the Little Red Book together, the electronic version or the the ebook version, the full version. I'm very, very grateful to have the book finally, the finalized version. Now we've got a couple of the older books, so you can really see how cracked up my mind is. I'm going to actually give a couple of these away. But on today's episode, I'm going to actually, if you can guess the number between 1 and 50, I'm going to give you one of these books. You just got to send me your address, and I'll send you a signed autograph. I've got a couple of these I'm going to be giving away until we start getting the new ones. And it is what it is. A little treat, whatever. So if you guess the number, you'll get the book. And you'll be happy with me. But of course, I'll need your address. So on this episode, we're going to talk a little bit. We're gonna take a little bit the subject on about listening and or versus hearing. We're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna ask some questions about this subject, and let's see where we might be regarding the scale of better listening, mastering better listening skills, and not just better listening, but asking better questions, and mastering the skill of more effective listening for today, so that we can get. I'm telling you, the world that we live in. I was thinking about this earlier today. We, we're focused on this industrial age, right? That's what we were taught in school, the industrial age stuff, and we're moving into this 5G world. We live in a 5G world. We're living in autonomy driving and technology and all of these kinds of things that are happening in this world. Everything's advancing, moving ahead of us, and this may seem like maybe an insignificant study or subject, uh, either you're listening, either you're practicing on learning to get better at listening, or you're just plainly just hearing noises, right? You could be on this broadcast and you might be just hearing a bunch of noises. In fact, somebody already heard a bunch of noises coming from my mouth, and not just my mouth, but my colors, whatever it is, and they walked away. They said, you know what? I don't have time for this clown. I don't have time for this fool. I've got better things to do. Well, obviously that person was hearing, right? He was hearing. You're not really paying attention. You don't really care about becoming a better listener. And there's all kinds of benefits. I asked the question earlier, and I'm going to ask it again here in a little bit. But now, before I do, I want to get into some house cleaning. What is the house cleaning today? Support the mission. When you purchase any of our items, when you buy the book, when you get the book, in fact, where's the other one? We have a couple of books that we've been working on here. This one too. So when you purchase a book, when you donate to this mission, when you if you enroll in the GABA, the Gambling Addictions Breakthrough Academy, or you follow us on our new podcast and you support the mission, anything that you do supports this mission for us to get out there. Of course, I'm as a life agent. I'm actually an insurance agent myself. I work part-time as a customer service, also for Prime, for Amazon, actually. So all I need is basically to keep this mission going forward. So I'm asking you for your support. Buy a book, get enrolled. If you're stuck in life, if you don't know, if you're walking backwards, if you don't get into the GABA, do what you need to do, get some help, support the mission. I'm here to help you, my friend. Visit the hub, soldiersofselfmastery.com. And I'm just trying to be myself here, my friend. I know time's going to go by very quick. So support the mission. All right. Today's proverb is out of Romans 13:1. Let every soul be subject to the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Now, I believe this 100%. I believe that we're on this planet by grace. I believe that the reason why we're here is because of the Creator's mercies. There's people that are no longer here on this planet. The plan for them is completed. That's a mystery. I don't understand it. You and I are still here, and we're talking today about better listening skills. Am I listening? Do I listen to myself, or am I just hearing? Am I just hearing myself? When it comes to self-empowerment, when it comes to self-mastery, am I taking the time to practice these skills, these life hacks that can actually help you and I, whether it's an addiction, whether you're, whatever it may be, you can fill in the blanks. Think about it. Where would better listening skills, having better listening skills right now in your life, where would that put you? How would that advance you? All right, my friends, I see we've got a few people here. I haven't had a chance to give the my fair warning. Nahil, welcome to the program. Sean, good to see you. Good evening. I apologize for being a little bit late. Thank you. Nahil says time off. Time off. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. You let me know. Jim, welcome to the program. We're going to have Jim. Looks like Jim is going to join me and Master Cephas, my engineer, on one of our podcasts over at Soldiers of Self-Mastery. The podcast, we're excited about that. Yes, we're going to get better. It's a little funky. Okay, don't bust my chops about that. I know. We got to get better equipment and we got to do some things. I know. That's one of the reasons why I asked you guys to help support the mission. We need more money, all right? We need a little bit more money to keep this mission going. So I thank you. Those of you that have, and you know who you are, I truly appreciate you. But we're going to have Jim on one of our podcasts. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about values. We're going to talk about generating more income. on that podcast. Probably that's what we're going to be talking about. So we look forward to having Jim, Engineer Cephas, and myself. And Wimbledon. Why did I say Wimbledon? I don't know. I'm thinking tennis. Hey, Wilson, welcome to the program, man. Are you still doing bad? What? Santos, how are you? I am still doing bad. Crash and burn. Not good. But I'm glad you're here, Wilson. I'm glad you're here because hopefully this episode tonight or this afternoon will help you a little bit, will help you advance in life. Listen, my friends, we're all in a battle. You and I are in a battle. We live in this world of distractions, and we have to learn how to distract. You know what happens when we don't, Wilson, not to use you as an example, but he says I'm still doing bad. He crash and burn. Now, of course, when we think about crash and burn, we think about, what is it? Dale Earnhardt. Didn't he pass away in a crash, an accident, like a car accident? But anyways, maybe I shouldn't say, but anyways, when we think about crashing and burning, we're thinking about an accident, like a car or something like that, right? Kind of brings a visual image to the mind. But well, here I'm losing track of what I'm speaking about here. I'm trying to focus on Wilson here, but bad and crash and burn. Bad, crash and burn. When we don't listen, when we don't pay attention, we might be listening to the wrong things, right? We hear a lot of noises, but we might be listening to the wrong things. And that's what happens. We end up when we're not focused, when we're not completely focused, and we're not going to be completely focused 100%. But, we don't want to crash and burn, man. That gives us a bad image. Kind of threw me off there for a minute, Wilson. So I see we've got a few people on here. If you want to let me know where you're from, you got a question, you've got something on your mind, we are going to talk about this. I want you to think about, we're interacting with people, right? We're interacting with people. We're interacting with friends, with coworkers, with acquaintances. How's your life? How is your life? Is your life getting better? You have to analyze that, right? How do we become better? How can we become better? Thinking about listening skills. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but are we really listening, or are we hearing only? Jim says, Stephen Covey says, you must understand first before you get to be understood. Exactly. I often ask myself, I criticize myself. I do a lot of work on myself every single day because, I don't want to come here and waste your time. I don't want to come here and waste my time. I want to walk away from this program at least more motivated or educated, right? You guys want to be more educated? I know I do. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of studying, and I spend a lot of time by myself. I analyze because I realize how, I see the damage in my mind. I see the damage that I've caused, and I see my own human nature. Earlier, we talked about Romans. We read Romans 13. Let every soul be subject to the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. He talks about human nature, how we are flawed. We come into this world flawed. That doesn't mean that we can't be positive. It doesn't mean that we can't strive for excellence. That, if we don't have, we crash and burn, like Wilson said. Right? Are you really listening? Are you listening, or are you just hearing? So we gotta understand ourselves. That's right, Jim. Stephen Covey said it very well. When we don't look at ourselves, when we don't spend time, when we don't internalize, when we don't analyze, we don't really know who we are. We're just listening to all the noise. We're just stumbling around, falling into the casinos, right? Left and right. We're getting getting advantage taken, and it's going to happen anyways. People are going to take advantage of us in some form, in some way, because we live in an imperfect world. But imagine how much the world, imagine how much difference the world would be if people were listening, if people were practicing better, mastering their listening skills. Imagine the world, how the world would be a lot better. You know, relationships, interactions between police officers and the public, business ventures, you know, vacation experiences. Think about all that. If people would just really think about this subject, you know, raise the alert on this subject. And we have to ask ourselves, man, you know, am I listening? Am I listening? Because the way that you listen to yourself is the way that you're listening to other people. And if you find in your life that maybe you're not having success like you want, and success, you know, me and my partner Cephas, we talk about success on our podcast. We're just getting started. We make mistakes. I know that we fail. I know that we fail in some of the, in fact, I fail in some of the things that I do and some of the things that I say, but I keep going. I just keep going. Because I know that if you fall apart, if you don't listen, if you don't practice these, I'm starting to call these transformational hacks. You got to have them in your life. You got to have these things in your life. You have to have them. And do you have them? What are they? Can you name 3 or 4 life hacks that you have at your disposal? If I asked you, name 3 or 4 life hacks right now that you use on a daily basis to help you get from point A to point Z. What would you say to that? How would you answer that one? Laura says, hello all. Man, I must be, let me see. Jim says, analyze your values and determine when to fight and lose battles to win wars. It is almost betraying yourself if you have to sacrifice your values for safety. That's true. I see a couple of numbers coming in. No, nobody's hit the number yet. It's a little bit, I'll give you a little bit of a clue. It's over 75. I'll tell you that much. The number. So we're talking about listening skills. We're talking about advancing, taking your business. And another thing that you know, when it comes to listening skills, also asking the right questions. Those two things go together. Asking the right questions, asking open-ended questions, and listening. Especially if you're in sales. This is a good tip for you if you're in sales like I am. You ask the questions, and then you learn to listen. Zip, and listen. Listen for clues. Let the client, let your lead tell you what they may want. Right? You feel, and then you can fill the need. Most of the time, when we're talking to people, we're not even listening to them. We're just hearing people, man. It's a disaster, man. It's horrible. It really is. I'm sure you know, if you've been in this world long, you know that what I'm talking about here, what we're discussing in this episode, is a reality. It's a sad reality too, for many. But for us, we're going to make it a good reality. All right, I see people coming on and jumping off for some reason. Maybe I'm just boring somebody. Anybody got a question? I can get off the subject and we can talk a little bit more. Anybody here? Laura, Sean, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for your participation. Wilson, thank you. Nahil, I see Nahil. Had to. Nahil says had to. Hi, had to, time off. Yeah. Can any of you guys relate to this listening thing I'm talking about here? Or do you guys all have listening down to a T, perfected? Are you guys expert listeners? What do you think? Could you use a little bit more listening? By the way, I don't know if you knew this. I really didn't know it. I might have known about it, but I really didn't know this, that there are levels of listening. There are like over 7 levels of listening. What the heck? What do you mean 7 levels? I thought you just listen or you don't listen. You hear things or you don't hear things. No, there's like over 7 levels of listening. I'm just going to go off and rattle off on a few of them. You know, you've got biased listening, you've got critical listening, you've got informational listening, you've got pleasure listening, you've got sympathetic listening, you've got empathetic listening, and there's a few others. I probably missed a few. But imagine getting yourself to at those, just bringing up those skills in your life. Anybody can do this. Hey, here's a secret. Anybody can build these things up. Yay! Yay! Anybody can build up these skills, man. I see somebody's getting close. So, Jim, let me see. Wilson says, Santos, what I really meant is I am still burning my money at the devil's playground. All right, Wilson, I'm going to pick on you for a minute here. Okay, I know what you meant. I know what you meant to a certain degree, but I'm glad that you're bringing this out here. Let me ask you a question, Wilson. Why are you burning your money at the devil's playground? Why? Do you know why you're doing this? Do you have any idea? If we don't know what the enemy is, if we don't face the enemy, we're not going to be able to face the enemy if we don't know who the enemy is. You're not going to be able to defeat your enemy. And you have enemies, just like I have enemies. We all have enemies. One of the enemies that you have is your own self, your flesh. You are your own biggest distraction. Now, think about this for a moment. If I know that I wasn't taught listening skills in school, I spent 8 years in the military, and they really didn't tell me about listening skills. They taught me some things, but I don't think they ever really taught me about the 7 or the 8 or the 9 levels of listening. They've never taught me that. I remember Jim Rohn said he worked at Sears, and they didn't teach him about setting goals. Anyways, we are talking about listening. We are talking about this skill set, this mastering this skill set so that we can advance, so that you and I can become better at our craft. So let me see. I skipped a question here, and I wanted to get back to Wilson here in a minute because I'm picking on Wilson here for a little bit. Let me see if he's. Hey, Mark, welcome to the program. And let me see. I see some numbers are putting in. I'm giving in one of my old books. So if you guess the number between 1 and 50, you're going to get a copy. Mistakes and all. Yes. The new book is here. I just got like 2 copies. I got to give one away, and I've got 1 copy. I'm going to be ordering more of these. I had to make sure that everything was finalized. But we've got a bunch of these other ones sitting in the gym. We've got to give them away. So they're still good books. They just have a few mistakes in them. You'll see how crooked my mind was in those. Of course, I didn't do the editing, though. All right, so don't bust my chops. So if you guys get the number here. So Wilson, let me see. Did I get a response from Wilson? Listening is really a skill for sure. Yeah, in fact, Laura, I didn't even know that there's over 7 levels of skill of listening levels. There's probably more, but you don't think about these things. We take so much for granted. We become so distracted today. I mean, think about it. We are a generation. Technology should be bringing us together, but technology is also separating us because technology takes away from our social skills. And I sometimes I have a hard time. I come on here and I make videos. Going live is different than making videos. So I have a little bit of a challenge. I get a lot of notes and I use some of my notes, but I get distracted myself just from all the information, all the stuff that I study. I end up getting distractions myself. And sometimes I may even say things that I probably shouldn't. I get into another subject. But that's just the way we are. And we just keep going. Earlier, I was talking about the podcast, Soldier of Self Mastery. Cephas and I, we're making mistakes. We're going forward. We're going to continue to listen. We're going to continue to analyze. We're not just going to be hearing noise. We're listening. And that's what we want you to think. That's what I want you to think about today. Today, after you leave this episode, tomorrow, when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, think about these things. Are you perfecting this practice? Are you working on this transformational hack in your life to better yourself, to advance yourself? Are you doing these things? Or are you taking things for granted? You're just hearing noise. You know what I mean? Just hearing noise. Just noise. Uh, anyways, here we gotta we gotta slow things down in our lives and think about these things because you know this is very important. I know to me right now in my life, listening, practicing, and breaking through these areas that we think that we can't break through. You can break through these areas. You can if you're willing to do a little bit of homework, if you're willing to do a little bit of work. How do we do this? How do we get better at listening? How do we get better at practicing the art of listening? Conversations, business transactions. You're driving, you're going on a vacation trip, you're dealing with family members. You've got issues with your own life. You've got stuff going on in your own life. How are you dealing with that? How are you listening? How do we do this? How do we do this? How do we practice it? See if I get, hey, Wilson came back, man. I'm glad that I didn't scare you away, buddy. But we're all, you know what? We're all family here, right? That's why I say, hey, support this mission. We're all family. What you do, it goes towards a good cause. Whether you take me on as a coach to help you get there faster, to help you become more accountable, to help you focus on your finances so that you can, do what's right. Whether you buy the GABA, the Gambling Addiction Breakthrough Academy, whatever it is that you do, you're supporting this mission. Here we go again. I forgot. I did. Anyways, how do we do this? How do we practice this? How do we get into this? Is really what I want to talk about. Stop going off on a tangent, Santos. Okay. Wilson says, go ahead, Santos. I need somebody to burst my chops, burst my chips. All right, I'm going to burst your chips, Wilson. No, I'm not. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to get back to you. Jim says listening can also include meditating on your thoughts and asking where and why those thoughts come from. Yep. Imagine 70 to 80,000 thoughts, they say, flow through our minds every single day. 70 to 80,000 thoughts are flowing. I don't even, I guess maybe I'm so focused. I'm working on being so focused and holding on to the thoughts that I want to hold on to. I'm not even paying attention to all those thoughts that are flying through my mind. But yet they're going through. They're going through there. Thank you for bringing that up. Laura says it's a skill for sure. Mark says, hi there. I meant hi. The last podcast, Jim says, the last podcast talked about self-analyzation. That is like listening to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. No, the numbers. Yeah. Here's a good one. Listening is important in my marriage. Yeah. Can you imagine all the marriages that would have been saved if people would have just taken a course on building up their 7 or 9 levels of listening? Can you imagine that? That's too hard for some people, man. It is. It's just hard for some people. But that's the thing. This is what we need to focus on. You and I need to focus on these transformational life hacks, because if we don't, we're gonna fall by the wayside. Right? The way we listen to ourselves is most likely how we listen to other people. I was asking myself this. I wonder if there are levels of hearing. You know, there's a difference between hearing and listening. They say that we are humanly, we're made, the way that God made us is fight or flight. So we hear a lot of noises. We hear things, right? We generally, when we hear things, we tend to look in that direction. We try to focus on it. So we want to make sure that we're safe. And then we kind of listen. We kind of secure our senses to kind of listen in a little bit. There is a difference. And now I don't know if there's a difference in hearing, levels of hearing. Maybe there is, right? But what's more important, what we're hearing and the levels, or what we're listening to, what we should be paying attention to? You know, and how we can become better. How do you become a better listener? How do you become a better person? How do you become a better questions asker? How do you become a better marriage partner? You know, how do you become a better ex-gambler? How do you move away from gambling fast? How do we do these things? How do we do these things? It looks like we're going to be here for a little bit longer than it's 4:30. It's 4:31. I see a few people are coming on board. I want to thank each and every one of you guys that are here, that are visiting with us on this episode. I don't know what happened to Sam. I kind of miss Sam. He's probably got a lot on his plate, getting ready to leave us. Hopefully you guys will remember Sam in your prayers. And so let me see what I got here. Support the mission family. Visit our hub and subscribe at https://soldiersofselfmastery.com. So any questions, any comments? We're talking about, by the way, just for coming here on this episode tonight, just for being here and participating on this episode tonight, each and every one of you guys, you're going to walk away with better listening skills. Okay? I promise you that. Oh, Jim says, why do we refuse to listen? I'm going to get back to you, Wilson. Jim says, why do we refuse to listen? Why do we refuse to listen, Jim? Why? Why do you think that we refuse to listen? I have many, many ideas. Pride is one of them. But it's also the way that we've been programmed. Wouldn't you think, Jim? We're programmed. We are programmed. We are programmed already. We should be deprogramming and reprogramming ourselves. Okay, I'm going to say that again. We are programmed. We should be deprogramming and reprogramming ourselves to become our best version. As we go forward, we're going to need to learn faster. We're going to need to learn There's a lot of things that we're going to need to do differently. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of experiences that we're going to be doing differently. And if we focus on the old ways and it's just not going to work. We have to advance. It's just like we've got all this technology. I've written books. I've got the GABA. I've got free coaching. Well, not free. I don't do free coaching, but I do offer coaching for people that want to get away from gambling as soon as possible, as quick as possible. Could I help you get free from gambling very quickly? Of course I could. Could I help you stay permanently? Of course I could. Now, of course, it would be determined upon your will, right? It would be your complete determination, because I'm doing it for myself. So if I can do it for myself, why couldn't I do it for you? Right? If I can keep myself free from gambling, if I can keep myself free from certain addictions in life, if I can keep myself going, if I can do these things to myself and you're having a hard time doing them for yourself, could I help you? Of course. That's why I offer coaching, right? It's an investment. Anyways, that's just a little plug in there. But I am going to get better. I am going to get better at listening skills. I am going to work on my 7 to 9 levels, whatever levels they are. I'm going to work on them every single day. I'm not going to work on all of them at the same time, but one by one, little by little, right? Inch by inch, it's a cinch. If we work together as a team, one brain is good, 2 brains. Imagine, 4 brain power, right? We have 4 horsepower versus 1 horsepower. 1 brain power versus 4 brain powers. Which one would you rather be in? What group would you rather be in? 1 brain power, or 4 brain power? I'd rather be in the group where I'm learning, man. I'd rather be in that group where I'm learning and I'm being challenged. And if it's helping me, right? Something is helping me. So Wilson Castillo says, somebody burst my chips. That's funny. So Jim, why do we refuse to listen? Afraid of my answer. I think that for many reasons, but in particular, there's probably a few that are very, very at the top level. And I believe that pride. So when you think you know it all already, you're not going to listen. When you think you already got it all down and down packed, you may listen a little bit. You may listen to a little bit, but I guarantee you're not going to really listen. You're not going to focus. You're not going to practice the art of listening. And I believe that listening is an art. Many people have lost that art. Many are choosing to pick up that art, dust it off, brighten it up, and focus on it. Imagine, think about it. It's going to help you with your marriage. It's going to help you with your job. Could better listening skills help you move away from problem gambling? Of course. I believe that. So Wilson says, I knew the feeling, man, playing with fire and getting burned. And we like that burning sensation. We go back again. We need to get out. We want to get out. Man, it stinks. That's right. See, that's a very good clue, Sean. When we're doing the same thing over and over, I mean, if you make a mistake, you get up, you go forward, you go on. But if you're making the same mistake over and over and over and over, you're not listening to yourself at all. You're not analyzing. You're not sitting down with yourself. You are not really doing any of that. In fact, all you're doing is you're hearing a bunch of noises every single day. You get up and you hear a bunch of noise. And what noise are you really hearing? The noise to go to the casino, the noise to go see if you can get some money back, the noise to go and see if you can win your losses back, chase your losses. Oh, I hit a jackpot last night. I'm going to go back there tonight because I'm going to get that same machine. And then you end up getting in an argument with Peter because Peter got the machine before you did. You're not listening. When you're not listening to yourself, right? You're going to walk away from this episode listening a lot better today. Okay? I'm waving my magic wand. A la peanut butter sandwiches. No, that's not going to work. I'm just joking. I'm just joking there. All right, let me see. We got a new person here. Jai Cito. There have been times when a winning streak is false confidence. That's true, my friend. Where are you from? Where are you from, Cito? Where are you from, man? Let me know. That's true. Uh, we could talk a little bit. We're getting ready to wind down here on this program. We've got a few people that are still here. We're talking about listening. We're talking about developing our listening skills, becoming better people. We're in the age. Do you guys remember the Jetsons? I don't know. Maybe some of you might remember. A couple of you might remember. Jitsu. I agree 100%. Sean says, thinking of I'm the king, nothing can touch me is the most dangerous. Exactly. Pride. That's right, Jai. Pride comes before the fall, my friend. That's truth right there. You said it. Thinking of I'm the king, nothing can touch me is the most dangerous. So tomorrow, this week, I'm going to declare that nobody's going to go gambling anymore. Nobody's going to go gambling this week. You are going to purchase a book. You're going to enroll in the GABA. You're going to hire me as a coach, or you're going to support the mission. You're going to do something instead of going to the casino this week. That's exactly what you're going to do. Is it? Come on, guys. We got a mission here. We got to help people. We got to help young people. We got to help older people, senior citizens. So remember, don't support the casinos. Support the soldiers of self-mastery movement. Oh, Sacramento. Sacramento in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you here. Episode number 97. I see people are leaving. Some people are dropping off like flies. No, not like flies. I shouldn't say that. But flies do drop off every once in a while. We're going to wrap things up here. All right, my friend, it's time to start practicing the art of better listening. Why? Because it leads to better benefits, right? What are the benefits of better listening skills? What are the benefits? We've already talked about them. All right, we're getting ready to wrap things up here. Once again, imagine all the problems could be solved. Now, let me ask you this. If you, knowing what you know now, knowing what you know right now, a little bit about these facts, knowing, how is it going to help you right now? How's it going to help you going forward? Knowing these few things that we talked about on this episode. Maybe you're going to practice them. Maybe you're going to study listening. Maybe you'll do a little bit of reading. Maybe you'll get the book. Maybe you'll go and get the ebook version. Right now, actually, you can get I think $3 or $4, you can get the ebook version at soldiersofselfmastery.com. So, and if you buy the book, I'm encouraging you to please give me a review. If it's negative, put it on there. If it's positive, put it on there. Please give me reviews on my book. I need help, my friends. I really do. I'm trying to do the best that I can to reach people around the world. I get a lot of emails. I get questions, and Cephas my partner has never been a gambler. I gambled. I struggled with many other areas of my life for a long time. And I have a passion. I have a hunger to help people. And there's more that I need to be doing. I need to get on the airwaves more. But I realized that we need to pay people to help. I need people that know how to do search engine optimization. I need help with editing. I got another book that we're working on. I need help with these things. I need help with people. If you know how to market, can you help me market YouTube? Can you help me with Facebook? I need help, my friend. I really want to reach people. I want to leave an impact because we don't know how long we have. I don't know how long I have. But I do know that, these messages will go on. They'll continue. Hopefully they'll continue to feed people, encourage and motivate people to search As many of you have said, we look inside of ourselves, we study. As I like to say this, you educate, educate, applicate, motivate, liberate. That's how it works, right? You applicate, or you have to get educated, and then you have to applicate it, because knowledge alone is not power. And then you get motivated, and that helps you to get liberated. Hopefully that's the way it works. So we're going to wind down here. Any questions? Laura, Mark, Sean, Jai, thank you for being on the episode. Hopefully you'll follow us back again. We'll be back here Sunday at 4 p.m., 3 p.m. next Sunday, right here, Pacific Standard Time. And follow us. As I mentioned, you can check out right here, soldiersofselfmastery.com. That's our hub site. You can check out what we're doing there and support the mission. Support the mission. All right, my friends. Until my next episode, I thought I had ended the broadcast, but I didn't. I will see each and every one of you guys here next Sunday at 4, actually at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank you. It's been a privilege. And once again, we got to put this call to action. Study a little bit more about listening skills, the 7 or the 8 or the 9 levels of listening skills. You want to develop those skills in your life as quick as possible. Read, Go to blogs. You could check out more of my videos there on YouTube here at Soldiers of Self Mastery. Make sure that you've subscribed also. And if you need help, my friend, like I say, get help. Okay? Don't stay where you are. If you fall down, put a Band-Aid on it. Take the Band-Aid off, let that thing heal, and go forward with your life. You know? Yeah, because it's going to get tougher if we don't go forward. If we don't decide today, right here, right now, it's going to get a lot tougher for us in the weeks ahead, my friend. So with that said, I will see you at the top on the inside on my very next one. Peace through strength, and I salute each and every one of you guys.